wait, hold on. There we go. There we go.
Fun size.
Fun-sized. Happy podcast. It's been a minute.
Oh, my gosh.
It's been a few weeks since we've been on, but this is The Scoop, Weddings Unveiled. I am Tim Schaus, your premier DJ with TLS Entertainment, alongside with Brandy Harlan, your beautiful wedding planner, non-retired. You need to put your chair up. Put your chair up. No, pull it up.
Up? Higher?
Oh, is that?
That is as high as it goes. Ooh. I'm just that short.
All right.
I'm fun size.
Well, welcome back. How are you, Brandy?
Great. How are you? He has to sit really low. How tall are you?
I'm 6 foot. Not that tall.
That's tall.
I mean, that's tall for, yeah.
Taller than
average
me.
For a man.
Is that average? I don't think that's average.
For an athlete.
For an athletic build. So what's up? What's new? Are you enjoying your summer?
Well, summer technically is just starting. I had one wedding this past weekend.
I was surprised to hear that.
Yeah, I had one wedding at, where was it? Oh, it was at Lakewood Ranch Golf and Country Club.
Indoors, thank God.
Outdoor. The ceremony was outdoors. And actually, I had some interesting information provided to me by some other wedding vendors.
Oh, yeah?
So the Orlando from Storybook Films,
yeah,
right? Storybook. Amazing videographer.
He is.
He was actually the very first vendor that this couple hired.
Oh.
Videographer, which is not
usual.
Not a usual thing.
They knew what they were getting and what they wanted.
They knew what they wanted. And then
That's
they
good.
also hired Alyssa Sue, photography, another amazing photographer.
Yeah.
And so they hired Orlando first, and Orlando tells me that he was like, "Oh, who's your photographer?" And so they mentioned Alyssa, and then like, "Oh, well, who's the DJ?" And they said, "Well, our plan is to use a speaker from a friend of ours who has a speaker, and we would just put like a Spotify playlist."
Just walk away now.
And well, no, and again, this is at Lakewood Ranch Golf and Country Club. This is a beautiful venue.
You cannot do that.
You're already spending a good chunk of money.
That place ain't cheap.
No, and the guest count was like roughly around 50 guests, so it was a smaller wedding.
Was that maybe their justification because it's smaller?
But Orlando actually talked them out of it.
Good job.
Thank you, Orlando. And he was like, "All right, listen, who's like, if that speaker were to not work, then what? Then you have no music, and who's going to be pressing play?
And what am I going to record if it's? I mean, I guess you can add music.
I mean, but like you have an amazing videographer, and his skill level and his creativity is bar none. Like it's amazing. And then you've got an amazing photographer. So you need to complete that amazingness with entertainment or somebody to run the show. And that's essentially what he said. He's like, you need somebody to run the show for you. You need somebody who's going to basically run the reception.
Yep.
I mean, yes, you have wedding planners, you have, coordinators that are kind of like moving things along, but you need to have somebody put it in action. Yeah. And that's what a DJ and an MC will do. Mm-hmm. And so they're like, so Orlando's like, call Tim at TLS Entertainment. So they went from having no DJ to not even thinking about having a DJ to booking the premiere package with cold sparks and uplighting.
Yes.
High five.
High five, sir.
And 38 guests showed. So it was a very small wedding. But they had a good time. I was
going to say, they tore it up, didn't they?
And yeah, so it was hot. It was so hot. It was probably one of the hottest days. This was on a Friday. The ceremony was at 4 o'clock.
Oh, God.
4 o'clock.
Why? You have, like...
I don't know.
All that time before the sun sets.
4 o'clock ceremony, and it was hot as balls.
Yeah.
Sweating.
I agree. We had, Sean had Clearwater World Series games this week.
Baseball, yes.
Baseball. So we were at the field Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I thought on Saturday I was literally going to just die.
Yeah.
It was awful. It was god-awful.
I started playing music for guest arrival around 3:30. Had my iPad set up. I have a very minimal setup for ceremony. And it was in direct sun. I left and came back maybe 10 minutes later. And I was like, Orlando, did you turn off the music? He's like, no. And I went over. I was like, Son of a gun, yeah. My iPad overheated.
Yep. So how do you do an umbrella? I mean, what is
Well,
your,
that was the
do you
thing.
get, like one of those nice white
We were actually all
sailcloth
talking
type?
about getting like umbrellas for our gear for the cameras
Yeah,
because
just to even place it over top of it, like
Yeah.
while it's not in use.
Yep. So
There's got to be some.
luckily, I had
reflective-
they had a specific Spotify playlist that they wanted me to play as guests arrived, so I just went to my phone and then plugged that in, put on Do Not Disturb. But I mean,
or maybe
I
there's got to be like a cooling type. Not like a lunchbox, but sort of where your iPad
I mean, like, that was my bad. If we're being
But-
totally honest.
But no, seriously, it was so hot that it probably took 30 minutes for the AC to start working in the car on the way home.
Oh, I don't know.
It was so hot.
Yeah, but
This weekend.
yeah, so that was that was Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday we had off. No events, weddings. I mean, again, we're the end of June almost, just about, and this is when wedding season has come to an end, pretty much for Florida, and we're okay with that.
Was the couple from here?
No, I think
They're from the north, aren't they?
I don't know where they were from, but
I have a feeling.
yeah, it was a good wedding. It was fun.
Took you a whole day to like cool down.
It really did, yeah.
It does take a while. So, tip number 1: don't have weddings in Florida in June.
No, and if
July,
you
or
are,
August.
it's okay.
Everything indoor.
Yeah, just do everything indoor. And luckily, the reception was indoor. The cocktail hour was upstairs, outside on the little patio. And of course, everybody came inside.
Yeah, of
which
course.
I was prepping for. But yeah, from here on out, so July and August are pretty much our like completely off months. This is when we kind of breathe a little bit, and everybody in Florida anybody in the wedding industry, this is when we go and take our vacations.
Yes, yes.
Outside of Florida,
Yes.
for the most part.
Yes.
But you'll be finding myself and the team. We'll be at various bars and
I was going to say, this is your bar. This is your few months.
so
of bar
I'll be
scene.
I will be at Molly's Pub, which is where I'm at often on Fridays. I'll be there a few times in July, a couple times in August, and then a new one, The Point. You heard of Spanish Point? The Point?
The Spanish? I've heard of Spanish Point, yeah.
So there's Evie's, the Evie's Group, Evie's Tavern.
Yeah.
They own The Point, which is right on the water in Nokomis.
Oh.
And I work with DJ Harry Wright.
Yes.
So me, Harry, DJ Harry, and DJ Lyra, Carolina, we're all going to be DJing different
On rotation?
on rotation. Thank you. On Saturdays at The Point.
Nice.
I think it's from
let
like
me know.
7 to 11 or something like that.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's
You
a
have
cool
to let
vibe.
me know when you. I mean, I love all y'all, so I'll show up
Yeah.
for any of you.
So
but put that on the
this is
social
when
calendar.
couples, if while you're planning, and if you want to get a taste of what DJs and how they mix, how they DJ, what they sound like, this is your time to go to the. This is your excuse to go to the club or the bar and get out.
Date night.
Yeah, do a date night and come see your DJ in action, or if you're looking for a DJ, see them in action. You can see how they mix, and I would definitely look. Everybody has their own style.
Yes.
And
what you're seeing at the club isn't truly indicative of what happens at a wedding, but it's the fun part. It's how they
party
talk.
portion,
It's how they carry themselves. It's how they mix. So
now I don't talk
that's
at the
a
bars. I
little
don't.
bit.
Usually, I don't even have a mic.
Oh.
I don't even talk to anybody.
Does anybody else like throw some shout outs out there?
I'm sure they do. And I've had people come up to me and say, "Hey, can you do a birthday shout out?"
Yeah, sure.
And so I'm like, "Sure." And I'll
hook up my microphone.
Yeah, I got to plug in my mic and everything. I have it with me. I just don't ever use it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so that's coming up. And then once we hit September, we're slowly getting back into the swing of things.
Gosh.
So, but we've got a couple months of downtime, which is nice.
Yeah, I'm excited for downtime. I'm going back home this coming weekend.
Oh,
for 4 days back to my Kentucky roots.
For 4th of July?
Yeah, I'm traveling home back on 4th of July because we're driving.
Okay.
So it's me and the boys. And so I'm going to be, feet in the bluegrass and drinking water out of the well for 4 days.
There you go.
And I ain't mad at it at all.
Now,
it's
while we are in downtime, the Northeast is kicking off their wedding season.
Yeah.
So DJ Carlos.
Oh yeah, what's up?
He's up in the DMV region, and he lives in Maryland now, but he's doing weddings in Washington D.C., the Baltimore area, Northern Virginia, and he's just like, he's starting to ramp up now.
Any insight? Like, what are their venues like? What are the, like,
That
anything
I'm not sure.
interesting and different?
That I'm not sure, but we've got a couple weddings booked
Nice.
for TLS up in that area, and we're actually got a couple coming up in
I like
September,
it.
which is really cool. So, and I'm starting to offer services for a premier service for the DMV region. Most of them have just been including just Carlos for
Yeah.
now, and uplighting services, but I'm now starting to offer the premier package, which will include myself
Mm-hmm.
and Carlos, and that'll include all travel fees as well.
So what would you call a service that includes a planner? Because I know we keep talking about this.
The Premier Plus Planner,
I like it.
PPP.
PPP.
There you go.
I like it. All right.
So
Have wedding will travel.
now that season is out,
Yeah.
now we're going to talk to you guys about planning.
Yeah.
Like
What
what's
to
the
do
timeline
in the off season?
in the off season? So
Yeah.
how do you prep, and how do you plan your timeline of who do you book, when do you start planning certain things?
Yeah.
For me, I know as entertainment is concerned, once somebody books with me, I immediately send out the planning form.
Yep.
But that's not typically due until maybe a month prior to the
Yeah.
actual wedding day.
And they all start freaking out about it too a little bit. Like sometimes they're like, well, I don't know yet. It's
Yeah.
like, just take
Well,
your time. You have time.
And you can, and I tell my couples hey, this is all digitally based. So anything that you put on this planning form, you can save it and come back to it
Change
later.
it. Yep.
And you can change it if you want, which is
Yeah.
great. And so I think it makes things more real. Once they get that planning form, they're like, oh,
Yeah.
shit, okay,
We're
now
doing
we
this.
actually have
Homework?
homework to do, because
Yes.
there's so much homework that you have to do
Yes. Yeah.
when it comes to planning. So, Brandy, what you have for us
All right.
on
so
the timeline of planning?
timeline of planning a wedding. So this timeline is from Rock My Wedding, which is a great website to use, but I'm going to preface with a couple of things talking about homework, right? So whenever I've always, worked at the venue and worked with the couples and kind of given them, homework, I give it to them in the beginning because it's going to take them a while to figure it out, but I want it to be in their mindset. I want them to be thinking about the decor that's going on the sweetheart table, or who's walking with who. So I give all that homework in advance, but I want to also let couples know, just because you have the homework in advance doesn't mean you have to do it right then and there.
Right.
Don't stress yourself out about that, because a lot of the things are just as hey, don't forget that this needs to be factored into your decisions.
Well, and also with that, what you are planning right now is going to change
Yes.
months down the road.
Yes.
You're going to have different ideas.
Yes.
You're going to see certain things on socials, and if you have a mood board on Pinterest.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be indicative of that for sure. So that's why I suggest starting around 18 months before. That 2-year plan, fine. You can do 2 years as far as getting engaged 2 years prior to when you want to get married. But that's also conversations you need to have with your partner. Okay, what's the ideal month for us to get married? What month do you want to get married? What month do you, and then you back it up. And then you say, okay, gentlemen, or whoever's doing the proposing, all right, if we want to get married in December and we're planning for 18 months, what does that engagement look like? So that's when you kind of want to start your planning time. But 18 months from that date is when you really start working on things.
Now, I feel that, in my experience, and even with talking with couples, it's
Yeah.
okay, so the guy is planning on proposing, or the person proposes,
Yes.
all right? And then you're like, okay, now we start planning. I feel like for the most part, couples or brides on the more often will have an idea of when they would like to get married.
Uh-huh.
So, you say it's kind of hard to back into it. If once you propose, it's all right, say it's January and you're like, oh, I love the month of November. I guess it really just depends
Then
on.
you should have proposed sooner.
Yeah, but you don't always have that conversation ahead of time.
But you should be having that conversation.
That's fair.
Yeah. So you should be having that, because I got
Sometimes
married.
you just don't want to wait to propose. You start planning the proposal, and it's I need to do it. I can't wait anymore.
But
I actually had a buddy of mine, not to
get the ring earlier than when you want to actually propose, and then you're still ahead of the game.
No, but see, this happened to a friend of mine.
Oh gosh.
They got the ring,
Uh-huh.
And they're like, all right, I'm gonna plan a proposal.
Yeah.
He went and talked to his bride's dad
Uh-huh.
to ask for their
Permission.
and he was like, of course, I 100% give you all the blessings.
Yeah.
And the dad asked, when are you planning on doing this? He's like, I haven't thought of when yet, but I know that I want to ask her. And he's like, I just got the ring. And he's like, well, why wait?
Oh God.
And so he literally called me. This is when I was teaching at White Buffalo. He called me and he said, hey, can you help me out tonight? And it was that night. Like, he just talked to her dad, and her dad's like, we'll be there. Just do it tonight. He's like, why are you waiting? And so he's like, hey, can you help me?
Oh, the pressure.
Can you help me with this proposal? He's like, yeah, this is last minute. I said, heck yeah, I got a mic. I can certainly do that.
Okay. On the other side of that,
I know that's an extreme,
being the lady or the other person, or maybe a hopeless romantic, I would want more time and effort and thought put into it.
So he proposed to her at White Buffalo,
Uh-huh.
which many proposals happened there.
Yeah.
It was because that's where they met, and they met during my line dance lessons, and so many people met during my lessons.
Okay, that makes sense.
And there were probably like 4 proposals that I helped with.
Okay. Well, that makes sense because it's something that
I
is
just
meaningful.
feel when it comes to proposing, like, you get the ring, you're like, oh my God, I have a ring. That's when things become real.
And I've never been on that side, so I guess it's
from a male perspective
of the proposer.
Yes. You have to be politically correct these days.
Yes.
Yeah, when it comes to the one who's proposing, for me, my perspective was like, all right, I have the ring. Like, this is super real. Like, it's hard for me to keep secrets, and in general, as far as like, or not keep secrets, but
now we know.
It's hard for me to, like, if I bought something for you Christmas,
yeah,
and I bought it now, I'd be like, I want to give it to you now. I can't wait.
I can't wait.
So when it comes to,
I'm not good at that either.
Yeah,
but you still planned.
I have. Well, yes, I did.
So maybe plan before you go pick up the ring, guy. Like don't, or give the ring to someone else.
I did that.
That's
I hid it in the trunk of my car.
Oh.
And then my sister and my mom were like, no, don't do that.
No.
And so I gave it to my sister, and then I forgot about it. I was like, Christy, do you have the ring? She's like, yeah, I got it.
So it forced you to plan because you didn't have the ring. You didn't have something tangible. So I guess that makes sense. But I would back into it. If that's especially like, for instance, a New Year's Eve wedding or something of that nature, you really have to plan and back into it. And if you take longer during the planning process, it's fine. I actually just wrote a blog last week. It's on the Retreat Sarasota, the venue that I manage. It's on our website. And it talks about you're engaged, now what? When you get engaged, you don't have to start. Take time to enjoy. Take that pause and then start. But then start asking the right questions between the two of you before you start making decisions. Because, for instance, if your partner loves food and that's their jam and yours is the music, then you know that those are your things to kind of manage and come up with creatively. But ask the other person like what they think about, like how do you envision the food? How do you envision the music? And then you can kind of meld them together. But take that little bit of time to do that before you actually start actively interviewing and researching, because otherwise you're just kind of throwing darts at the wall and you don't have an objective, like an idea.
But the very first thing that you should look into is a venue.
Yes.
That's the very, is that, yeah.
I mean, typically, yes, but the story you just said was like videographer and photographer. So that lends to say that if you know it's a popular day, there's a few factors, right? If you know it's a popular day, or it's the biggest day of the year, like 11/11 or whatever it might be, 2/24/24, then you know you need to jump on that quick because you know that they book out a far time.
Yeah, if you're trying to book 2/24/24 now, it's gone.
I have it as a venue.
Well, you're brand new. So, okay. So the Retreat Sarasota has 2/24/24 if you're looking to get married in Sarasota.
We have some very popular dates available, by the way.
What day is that? Like a Tuesday, right?
Going down on a Tuesday.
Is it on a Tuesday?
I don't know. I think
Sounds
it's a
about
Saturday. I actually think it is. So, again, according to Rock My Wedding, and some of these I may not agree with, you may not agree with, but we're going to kind of work it out, right?
All right. So you get
propose 18 months. This is where we're at. We're going to start at 18 months planning. Whenever you get proposed, if you propose 24 months, and then you take 6 months to kind of chill and figure things out and get your budget together.
That's fair.
See a financial planner, like what that looks like, enjoy it before it gets to that point. Even at 18 months, though, there's not a lot of stress that's happening.
That's fair. I have a question before we get into this.
Mm-hmm.
So all right, so you get engaged.
Uh-huh.
Couple gets engaged. Are there such things as engagement parties still?
Yes.
Like that still happens?
Yeah,
Like
do that.
Like there's still engagement parties.
Yes.
Like a congratulations.
Yes.
Okay. Who throws that?
The couple, or maybe their friends throw it for them. It's just like a gathering. It's more like a,
hey, we're engaged.
Let me show off the ring.
Yeah, true.
It's okay, we did it, and now you've seen it. So
yeah, I wasn't sure if that was still like a thing, or if that's.
I think it should be more popular than I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's really just like a dinner party. Like maybe you have like.
Oh, I didn't even think it was a dinner party. I was just thinking like a house party, like.
Kind of, but you have food and whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, you really want to gather everybody at once because it's going to take a while to like circulate the family and be like, oh, let me show off the ring, or what are you thinking? Now at that engagement party, still not be planning. Just say we're just going to take our time.
How far after the engagement? Like
I'd say a month, 3 weeks, something like that.
That's when you should.
It doesn't have to be a big thing. It can just be a small house party, dinner party kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just curious. Okay.
Like especially if you're inviting like those that you want to be in your wedding to that engagement
that would
party.
Be like close
that's
friends,
a good time. Yeah. So they'd be close friends
and family. Okay.
Yeah, it's not too big, but no pressure. So 18 months. Here we go.
All right. So you get engaged. You have the engagement party. Then now we're 18 months out of your ideal wedding date.
Yes. So you decide how to collect your inspiration, maybe a folder, Pinterest, or Instagram. So for me, I love Instagram and I love Pinterest because it just holds it all, and you can create your own private folders, and it's just easy. And the intelligence of our world will start to send you things that you like. So mix it up a little bit, have a variety, but then you'll start to weed out what you don't like, and you can go ahead and like minus that from your board. But on that board, you can also have other categories and collaborators. So for instance, I'm helping Lindsay plan her wedding, and we both collaborate on her Pinterest board. And I throw things up, she takes things out, I take things out. I kind of whittled it down a bit for her because there was a lot of it going on. So less is more when you're looking at inspiration and things of that nature.
Okay.
So and then work out a budget. Like budget is huge, and there's a lot of budget options out there online, but talk to a financial advisor too, because even though you're starting at this 18-month and you have an idea, so that's why I say I think you should talk to your financial advisor before you actually start setting a date, and before you start the planning process, because your date might not work according to your budget.
I want to know how many people actually talk to a financial advisor.
Not enough.
I was going to say,
we need to bring one on.
Thought of that.
It's very important. And, I got married, 15 years ago. We kind of set the budget, but being the researcher that I was, my wedding was super inexpensive, but you wouldn't have been able to tell. And that's really kind of just finding a good planner. But I wish I would have set a different budget because we did not plan for a honeymoon and we never took one. Yeah. So things you got to plan for, right? So watch out for your guest list and choose your bridal party. So I like to do an A and a B guest list.
Okay. Your
you
A list.
Don't tell people
no.
that they're on the A or the B
There's
list.
An A list and a B list.
Yes. And your B list is a lot of those people that, for me, it would have been a lot of people that I worked with, but I didn't necessarily, I just kind of felt obligated to invite them because they worked in my cubby farm that I worked in at the moment.
List, the obligated list.
Obligated list, the O list. I feel like that's a good list, though. An O list. B
list.
Yeah.
Okay.
O. So
is there a C list?
There is.
Okay, anyway, continue.
Because what happens with your A list is it's all those people, right? And what does that look like? So say it's 150 people.
Jesus.
And some people, exactly. And you need to start paring some people down because now you've got your budget.
100. Let's do 100. I feel like that's
100. Okay,
100
we'll do 100.
A-list people.
However, say 20 live out of town, or 25, 30 live out of town. Maybe they're from college and everybody kind of split their different ways, and they don't live close. And they can't make it due to family obligations. Maybe some are pregnant. You have no idea like their life situation. So it's always good to have those B people to fill in if you really want to be at 100 people. If you don't want to be at 100 people or whatever it is, don't fill it in. Like, it will be what it will be, because there will always come people. Those are the people on the C list that you don't realize that you forgot, or that, oh, by the way, then they move into the A list.
Or your parents want
yes
their friend to come and join.
Course.
It's all
they
beware of
babysat
that.
you when you were 5 years old until you were
They
6.
deserve to be there.
They should be there. They watched you.
They
go to
changed your
vacation
diaper.
Bible school or something. So yeah. So that's why I say there's a C list, because there's always going to be a few on that list that trickle in that you forgot. People want to invite plus ones. Decide if you're doing plus ones, because that.
Well,
will
I feel like that
change.
100, in my mind, would be with plus ones.
That's small, depending on.
Not really.
So 50 people of your closest 50
Well, I guess
people.
I just don't know that many people.
Yes, you do.
I don't know that many people that I would invite to a wedding of mine.
Oh, well. How many was at the other wedding?
125.
Okay. I get that. But you also have to think of the partner, how many people they
Right.
know.
But also, like,
So you're
friend groups change.
They do, but you're really asking your partner to choose 25 people. You choose 25 people, and they each bring a person. That's 100 people.
Perfect. Love it.
That's.
Do you like 25 people? I don't.
I would say, honestly, I would want 60 to 80 max at a wedding for me.
60 to 80 guests total?
Something small, intimate, and those that are just truly there, like
Yeah.
in any kind of situation, like so second marriages especially, I think having smaller, more intentional
Oh, definitely.
group.
Well, you've already learned from the first one.
Yeah, I hope.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. But having some intentionality behind that, I think, is really important. So 18 months. Now we're at 16 months. Look at venues. Okay, 18 months is when you look at venues. 18 to 16 months out. Don't go any less than 16 months out from looking at a venue, because they book up fast.
Well, in the venues, that's when you...
There's only one.
Well, there's only one, and that's when you solidify your date.
Yes. And so
That's
you've
ideally
got your
that should
finances
be
together,
your first.
you've got your date, your month that you're looking at, and then you need to go find your venue.
Yeah.
Yep. Because how many times I've had people contact us and say, oh, what do you have this date? Do you have that date? No, I wish I had 3 venues, because dates are just, they fill up quick.
Well, and there are some venues which I do not like this. I know there's one in Clearwater. Clearwater? Yeah, I think there's one in Clearwater. I think it's like Pelican something. Anyway, they have like 2 or 3 ballrooms all right next to each other.
Oh, kind of like the Ritz.
And they have one ceremony location, so you have to rotate.
No.
Yeah, Joey did a wedding. I forget what the venue is called, but I've been there once or twice before. He was there, and his wedding was at like 5, maybe 6 o'clock. There was another wedding ceremony at like 4 or 4:30, and so he couldn't set up until like 5:30.
And then, like, what if your decor is, like, more elaborate and you got to take all that stuff down and switch it?
You have like 30 minutes to set that up.
That is, like, no.
And it was funny because he took video in the reception, and he was like, he had video of like his dance floor, and then he just like panned over, and you could see through the windows because it was overlooking the water, and you could see the other ballroom with the other wedding, and like you can, and so like it was almost as if both DJs were battling each other to see like whose party was better.
Yeah. I have been in instances in ballrooms and stuff where you can hear something happening on the other side, and you're like, oh, y'all.
Well, mix-ins.
We're going to be better.
Mix-ins can technically have 2 separate weddings going on. One would be up to like 50 guests max, I think.
Yeah, at the farmhouse.
The farmhouse.
Yeah.
And Joey and I both had a wedding.
Yeah.
Same day at Mix-ins. I was under the pavilion, and he was out at the
house.
The farmhouse, and I was like, "Hey, man, you need to turn your bass down. You're too loud."
But what's great about those is you really don't hear each other.
No, we were just messing around with each other.
Messing. But yeah, that's good stuff. I like that. So yeah, look at venues and check availability. And then it says here, book your officiant or church sort wedding license.
I feel like the officiant is like one of the last things you book.
Yeah, that is not a due for 16 months out. And sort wedding license, no. You can't even get a wedding license until 30 days.
Out 30 days?
You have to use it within 30 days, but you can get it within 3 days of. So Get it like 2 weeks before the wedding.
Yeah, because that's when
Yeah.
like shit gets real.
Do it before everybody gets in town and rehearsals and all of that. So do it like the week prior to the actual, like 2 weeks out from the
I
wedding
think when
day.
you're at the 16 to 18 month range of like out from your wedding date, when that's officially solidified, yeah, the big boys of
Yes.
entertainment, photography, videography, catering,
Wedding dress.
dress, those are like the big things that you need to start booking,
Yes.
or at least start to call. You don't have to necessarily book them, but start calling, start doing your research,
Because what you have in mind may not be what you get.
And some of the best entertainment companies, some of the best videographers, photogs, caterers, again, they can only book one wedding.
Caterers can do multiple depending on the size of them, but photographers and DJs, well, you have a crew.
I have a crew, but if they specifically want me.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
You guys got to make sure you know what you want when you're going into it. That's why I say take that first few months and just figure out what that looks like.
Yeah. And I've had couples reach out to me and say, hey, I'm looking at this particular date at this venue. Do you have it available? And I'll be like, no, I'm so sorry. You know, keep us, you know, unfortunately, we don't have that date available. Okay, well, what about this date? Because they have this date available too.
Yep,
so
they'll change.
like it's
and check on your contracts too when you're looking at venues, because say your heart is set on that photographer, videographer, entertainment company, see if you can change your date once without a fee. I know we allow it once without a fee, and then after that it's $100 just because it's a pain in the butt and it's a lot of paperwork.
So 16, 18 months, those are your heavy hitter vendors that you should be reaching out to. Venue for sure is like the number one. I feel like should, in my opinion, number one, and then the others to follow. Yeah.
So on the 14 month, it says to book your photographer and videographer. I think that could be done a little sooner. In that 16 to 14, I like that year and a half. Year and a half is a sweet spot for, like you said, the big hitter. So photos, videographer, entertainer, caterer, venue, and cake. Yeah.
So I think within that 4 month time frame, you should be doing your research.
Yeah, like and that 18 to 14 month.
By 14, you should be booked.
Yeah, you should definitely have your venues and your top heavy hitters. And then it also says start looking, arranging appointments for wedding dress boutiques. I know with COVID, it was a lot more difficult to get shipments in, but I think that's kind of died down according to when we talked to the Perfect Dress. So, and they have a lot of off the rack kind of stuff too. So I don't necessarily think 14 months is, I think that's a little soon. Maybe like 12 to 9 months.
I thought she said at least a year.
Yeah, like the 12 to 9 months I think is good, especially if you are doing some body transformations. Like, hey, you're hitting the gym, because that's what everybody wants to do anyway. You know what? They proposed the way you are. Just be you, but be happy and be. We want you to be happy in what you're wearing too, and feel confident and sexy and all that good stuff.
Sure.
So if you plan on that, just know that on the back side of ordering your gown, you may have to have some alterations. So wait for those alterations.
Don't do the alterations
2 months before.
Yeah, exactly, and then try and maintain that.
Yeah, exactly. 12 months to go. It says consider underwear and try on dresses. That can wait.
Underwear?
That's what it says, underwear. They mean undergarments for brides, for dresses and things. That can wait until like 6 to 4 months out. Fine, you start getting your sexy things together. At 12 months, these are the things you should have done. You should have your date, your venue, your caterer, your videographer, your photographer, your entertainment company, your florist, and your caterer 12 months out, I think.
And those are, if you propose and you are planning your wedding within that 1 year mark, you are almost behind the ball.
Yes.
And you should book those things immediately.
Yes.
And just be prepared that you're most likely the percentage of you hiring or contracting your favorite vendors is going to be
harder.
It's going to be harder, yeah.
And the thing is that if you're at that 12 month and you're starting to do everything at 12 months, you have better had a lot of great conversations prior to that, so that okay, we're ready. We're financially ready. We've got our list. We know who we're booking, and it's just waiting on the proposal portion to happen. But you have already had those deeper conversations, and you're solidified on a lot of things. So you're basically pre-planning before the proposal. I have actually had people book a venue before they were proposed.
Oh, I had somebody
booked
Amy
you before
from Lakewood Ranch. She reached out to me. She's like, I'm getting engaged here soon. I'm like, wait, you're getting engaged? You're not engaged yet? No, but it's happening. I'm like, do you know when? She's like, sort of, but not really.
Yeah.
But I want to make sure that you're available for this date. I'm like, you already have the date? You're not engaged yet. Like, I know, but
See,
I want
there
all
are
the things.
those rare beings. We love them because
Yeah.
she's a planner.
That's exactly right. She's
Yeah.
a wedding planner, yeah.
So also 9 months out. I actually prefer this about a year out to 14 months out, depending on your guest list and where they're at. Save the dates.
Oh, yeah. When do save the dates go out?
It says 9 months out, but I think that's too late. People need at least a year because of when the date is falling. You want to make sure that they have the vacation time as well. So if you send it out, so say your wedding's in March, you send it out 9 months, okay, that's fine. But if you're sending it, if your wedding is in December and you're sending out in January or February, then they've kind of already got all their vacation days maybe planned. So you want to hit people before like you re-up on new vacation days.
Yeah. I just don't feel like
Kinda.
a lot of people, I mean, maybe it's just me. I don't know. But I just feel like
What?
not many people are planning vacations that far in advance. They might. Like, if they're planning vacations
But it could
that
be
far in
an
advance.
annual vacation they take every year.
That's fair. That's true.
So, and if it's a lot of
and if that's the case, they're not
out-of-towners,
going to go anyway.
well, they'll make adjustments.
Right.
And then you'll find out if they're on the A, B, or C list.
True. I do think that
So, yeah, save
at
the
9
dates.
months, save the dates is a
12 to 9 months, yeah.
okay. Okay.
Because then you've got your invitations that are going to go out, and we're going to talk about that too. So it says 6 months out bridesmaids dresses. So I have only been a bridesmaid once. I am getting ready to be a bridesmaid in October, and we met in, I want to say, March to start talking dresses, and she just told us to buy black. And I
Ooh.
love that for us.
Black is it
Have I got my dress
black
yet?
tie?
No.
Is that a black tie?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
But black is our color.
I love it.
It's in October, so it's like deep purples and blacks and some burnt orange, that kind of thing. Not Halloween, but Halloween.
So I just learned complete side note.
I like
just,
side notes.
Yes. I think it's Indian weddings.
Uh-huh.
They don't wear white. Is that Indian or not? Or is it Asian weddings?
Well, I've been watching Married at First Sight because I watch it all the time, and there was an Asian wedding, and she wore white, but then they had a tea ceremony where she wore all red.
Okay, that's what it was. Because
For
yeah,
the
they
tea
said
ceremony.
it was they wore all red. Like, because I guess white
Red is indicative of richness and success, and even the bedspread when they went back to their honeymoon suite, the sister of the groom had decorated their whole entire bedspread with a I think it was Vietnamese couple, and it was like a red and gold, and it was kind of cute because they both requested a tea service but didn't know who they were marrying. But they both requested it for after the ceremony, and they wore their own outfit. Like, they didn't know what the other person even looked like or who they were, what they were wearing, and they still matched. Come to find out, they actually knew each other 10 years prior
Wow.
in college. It's kind of cute. Yeah. So Love is Blind and Married at First Sight. I love those. And now we're talking 6 months, right? We're about 6 months out. It said at 9 months, also look at groom's attire. I think that's indicative, especially if you're going to a custom company like Tweeds, which is the only place you should be going to get suits. But we're a little biased, but we know the product is really great.
Mm-hmm.
So I think 9 months out for that is good, because you got to think about, back in that 18-16 mark, you're picking out all the colors and things. So start Pinteresting and all of that. And then you should have everything solidified.
Are you picking out
12
colors at that
months.
point?
All your colors should be solidified at 12 months. You should know what colors you're doing. Absolutely.
I feel like you'd have an idea, but it won't be solidified. Because again, I feel
mean,
like things
you
change.
can't keep, but you had 6 months to get there.
Yeah, but okay.
At 12 months, like, you're a year out, you're picking venues.
Mm-hmm.
Well, are you going to go pick out a Spanish rustic venue and then throw lavender in it? I don't know. Are you?
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't think no. It's everybody's own. But at 12 months, you should definitely know, like, some shades. So go to the paint store. So pro tip, go to Home Depot, Lowe's, wherever your Ace Hardware, whatever, they have paint chips. And you and your partner pick out colors that you're drawn to. Typically, it's colors that you wear that you realize you're not picking until afterwards. And it's also colors that you would also decorate with. It's kind of funny how you gravitate to the same kind of color.
That makes sense.
scheme. So pick out colors, bring them all home, and put them beside each other. Put like, you need like a offset color like black ivory or silver or gold as an alternate neutral. And then pick like 3 colors, put them beside each other, almost like if you're painting the wall, and walk past them for about a week and then switch it out. See what feels good and what looks good. And then you'll naturally gravitate to picking your colors a little bit easier. And then you go back and pick out more of those same colors and distribute them to your vendors. So when you're looking at flowers, when you're looking at cake, these are the shades. When you're looking at linens, you have something to go off of. And get close. You don't want to match all your colors. You just want shades of the same world. So pro tip.
Cool.
He's like, yeah, colors. You and your fashion, Brandy.
You just went
over his head. Well, when you're planning, that's what you've got me for.
Did you see the blank stare in my eyes?
And I love it. It's okay. So 6 months out, bridesmaids dresses, confirmed catering. You should have done that at 1 year.
Yeah.
Taste cakes. You can do cake about 6 to 8 months out. I think that's fine. Depending on the cake and the baker and their schedule. If you know that they get booked really quickly, then you definitely want to go sooner. It says book entertainment music. No.
6 months?
Yes. Don't listen to that. Don't.
I mean, you can.
You can, but it won't be fun. I mean, it won't be easy.
No, it won't be easy.
You won't be getting.
Especially if it's a very popular month. So here in Florida, I would say October, November are huge wedding months, and then February, March, April.
January's been picking up too.
Yeah,
a
but
bit.
like super popular. Like
November and March are the most wedding month, like the highest wedding months.
Let me
November
just
and March.
get in here real quick. No, I'm gonna
He's gonna check his calendar.
I'm gonna go into my calendar because there are many Saturdays, especially if it's a Saturday, that in November it's super busy. So like every single weekend, my entire team is booked. So let's look. All right. So November 4th, which is a Saturday, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weddings on November 4th. November 11th, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weddings on November 11th. November 18th, the following Saturday, we have 4 that following.
We're up to 19.
And then that's just on Saturdays.
Oh, that's 14. Yeah.
That's just on Saturdays. And then the following is Thanksgiving. So we don't have anything.
Yeah.
But
don't
that's
do
just
that
Saturday.
To anybody, by the
now
way.
Fridays we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, hold on. That's 2 on the 3rd, 2 on the 10th, none on the 17th. So those are Fridays, and then every other Sunday we have a wedding booked.
So you have literally 20 weekends within 3 weeks.
20 weddings. 20
in
weddings
3 weeks.
in 3 weeks. That's November.
That's November, y'all. Just saying.
So, yeah.
Don't wait 6 months out.
We're at 5 months.
We're 5 months out.
And I'm still getting inquiries for November. I'm like, sorry.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully that gives you guys a good baseline.
December is not as busy. January, we have sporadic. February, for some reason, there it is. 2/24/24 is a Saturday. Fully booked.
Fully booked.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 6.
Yep.
Didn't realize that. Anyway.
That's why I worry about those things.
Entertainment should not be 6 months in advance.
No, because literally I wonder what your March looks like. Because if we think about it, like March is 9 months, right? If we're in July, so 7, 8, 9, 10 months out.
All right, so for the entire, let's see here. The first Saturday in March, we have an inquiry, but nothing is officially booked. The following, the 9th.
Hurry, y'all, if you need that date.
The 9th, we have 2 weddings booked. The 16th, nothing. The 23rd, we have 2 weddings booked. The 30th, we have 2 weddings booked.
So people are sleeping right now on March. Because
I will
March
say that
is so busy.
I will say that things have been a little bit more quiet.
Yeah, it's summer.
Year.
People are just, I think, vacation mode right now, and they're not thinking straight. So if you're hearing this podcast and you're getting married in March, you should book your DJ now.
call us. Okay,
Definitely.
continue.
Okay, so 6 months out. So we talked about cake, all that good stuff, right? And then it talks about stationery and that's your invitations. So in today's digital world, there's many ways of doing invitations. I love an old school, good, like hand drawn venue on a card or on an envelope, but that's just
Like actually hand drawing it yourself?
no, God, no. Oh, it'd be stick figures. It'd be squares with triangles. I stick to geometric squares.
Yep.
No, I've always loved the hand-drawn look. From A&P Design Co. does them, and so does Sagebrush. They will hand draw the venue maybe on the flap of the envelope or on the card, and then they'll replicate it with watercolors and things like that. And I think it just kind of sets the vibe and the mood. When
What
you see the
websites are
invitation.
those?
AP Design Co. and Sagebrush Designs
Okay.
are two really great stationers. One's in St. Pete.
That's
I
like
think
more
one's in Sarasota.
customized work.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can also go to...
Zazzle.com and those. I've designed some personal ones on Zazzle, which come out nice. But
Heck, you can go to Vistaprint.
I know, but
I'm just saying, like, if you want to go that route.
if that's not where your love language is as far as like your desire and your budget, you don't want to put a big budget into it, then you don't.
I just didn't.
Yeah, he's gonna send text messages,
Be like, hey, you coming or what?
right? Be there, bitches.
I got a fire DJ, amazing food,
Show up,
a bomb-ass wife.
right? Be there. And then it talks about transportation, research and book any items you may need to hire. That's just
I feel like you
should already have that.
The
list.
details, I feel like the nitty-gritty details start to
Starts
happen at 6 months.
Yes. So that
And that's where
that's when linen.
That's over my head.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah.
Most guys.
So
most guys.
6 months, you should have your linen and decor meeting in your venue. You should have your centerpieces and all of your decor designed for those centerpieces. You should have all of the design decisions done at 6 months. Like what it's going to look like, what it's going to feel like. You can wait till about 3 months out for cake, depending on their preference, but you should have at least your decision about what that looks like ready to go for your bakery. But that 6 months that's when it's like, okay, this is like going to be here very soon. It goes by fast, those last 6 months. So when to mail invitations is also very important. So I always tell my couples, your RSVP date should be 3 weeks before your wedding.
That's when they should RSVP.
That's when they should RSVP. Then that gives you a week buffer before you have to turn all your numbers in, because you want to turn your numbers into your caterer 2 weeks prior into your venue. You don't want to be waiting until that week out trying to find extra chairs that maybe you got custom and now you don't have anymore. So don't be trying to do that. So 3 weeks before is like the RSVP date cutoff. You should be calling people actually prior before that. If they're slower to get them in and you know that they said they're coming, you can start calling them around that 4 month or that 1 month. So when do you mail them? You mail them 8 weeks prior to the RSVP date. So now you're at 12 weeks out. So 3 months minimum before your wedding is when you should be mailing out invitations.
3 months. Okay, that's fair. 3 months.
So
really? Oh, never mind.
You get the mail them.
All right, sorry. Yeah.
And then the RSVP is
save the date.
Yes.
Goes out
9 months.
9 months.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then 3 months you get the actual invite
out.
And on that invite, make sure to include, if the DJ plays this song, I will dance to.
Yes.
And then so you can put in your requests.
You can also do a QR code on them, and they can go to a Google Doc and fill it out too, which is really easy because then it comes to you easily. So you can go that route too and go a little more digital with some of the aspects. Yeah, just do a QR code.
For the DJ?
Yeah.
Or to RSVP?
It takes them to like a Google Doc. You can RSVP on a QR code too, so a website. So if you get this really nice Instagrammable invitation, because you're going to want it for your flat lay, for your photographer anyway. That's why I say do a really nice invitation. You can do a QR code maybe on the back of one of the pieces in there, and then they can fill out all their RSVP and everything digitally, and you can include that question there easier. Because I find that RSVPing on those little cards is really extremely difficult to read when people have to type it in. You get a downloadable list. You can make your seating chart. You can do all the things when it becomes virtual.
Yeah, people, you need to work on your penmanship.
Yeah, it's not.
It
great.
is not legible.
So if I can't read it, I don't know who you are, and I might
like,
spell
what
your
does
name
this
wrong
say?
on the little seating chart, and then you're all crazy like mad. Don't do that.
Right.
So QR code it. And it says book hair and makeup trials. I agree. 6 months out is really good unless it's somebody that you know has, a particular style and they maybe have less stylists that can execute that. Then you want to be a little sooner. And it says also go ahead and confirm suit and delivery of that. And then it says buy your underwear again, ladies. Come on, this is not gentlemen.
Why is that
you
even a
need your
thing?
undergarments too. I don't know why it's such a big thing. But I say 4 months is when you should, because
Should what?
Start scoping out the undergarments.
Are we talking about like lingerie?
No, like okay. Let's pause for a moment.
Undergarments?
Okay, no. Under the wedding dress.
Yes.
There are particular things that help.
Okay, well, I'm a man. I don't know
Shape?
these things.
And give that silhouette.
You don't still put the dress on?
Put things on where they need to go. Some of us need a little like oomph and
You don't just put the dress on? And
no. Unless you got it like that, then yeah. But you still want shapewear to smooth the panty lines and things of that nature. So there are some things. Plus, when the dress comes off, you want it to be like, oh, there's more.
What up, girl?
There's another thing to
How you
unwrap.
doing?
Yes.
Right.
So we think about those things. Guys really should think about what they wear as far as it comes to like boxers and things of that nature.
Just make sure it's
as
clean.
well. No, it should be nice. Like invest in a nice pair. Not the pair you've had for months. Just a nice pair.
Not the holy ones?
Get the kind that has her picture all over it or his picture.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes, get that. Make that be a fun surprise, right? Do something fun.
Oh, my gosh.
Wouldn't that be great? It takes the pressure
You start
off.
undressing, and then it's like, hey, there's
Hey,
your face.
Your face is right there.
Oh, my goodness.
Those are fun. I've seen those underwear. Okay. He's going to buy some now. You're going to get that next time you get married. I'm going to buy you boxers with your face on it. You better have them.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So 2 months out. Okay. We went from 4 to 2. All right. So in between there, you should have already booked your rehearsal dinner, your rehearsal, and set your rehearsal time with the venue at least 4 months out. Because there could be multiple things happening, especially if you're choosing a popular month. There could be a wedding on the day that you want to do rehearsal because your wedding is the next day. So you want to prepare for that, and then you want to prepare your group, your bridesmaids, your groomsmen, all your people, so that they can make the rehearsal. So that's 4 months out. You should be setting.
And the rehearsal should be how long? It's like, what, 10, 15 minutes, really?
An hour max.
Yeah.
I can get a rehearsal in 45 minutes as long as nobody's late.
My rehearsal, again, it was on my sister's property.
Yeah.
Was the wedding. So, like, we didn't have to worry about anybody.
Yeah.
The day before. But, yeah, I think the rehearsal was maybe 15, 20 minutes just to kind of showcase how the ceremony is going to go, where things are going to be laid out.
And some people need more time because they're a little bit more.
Well, yeah, there's bigger
parties, but also
parties,
the capacity of somebody to understand like how they're walking. They need to kind of go through it slower.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just depends on the personality.
I guess, yeah, there's rehearsal dinners are still a thing.
Yeah. So invite your out-of-town guests as long as it doesn't blow the budget, and have a small backyard get-together. It doesn't almost like the engagement party, but with those people that are out of town and the people in your bridal party, just like as we've said in past,
don't go crazy.
Podcasts, don't be that person. Don't be
the hangover.
Drunk. That's right. So you want to finalize if you're writing your vows and get those started.
Yes, 2
months out. You should have your officiant around that 2 to 4 month mark.
I feel like 2 to 4 months is a good
fine line details.
Yeah, the officiant, and nothing against officiants, but they said what, 14 months?
Yeah, they
originally?
said
no. I think the 2 to 4 months is when
they said 16. No, when did they say? They said 16 months out.
I think 2 to 4 is, I would say, more on the 4 side.
Yeah, and again, if it's a one person, officiants can do 4 or 5 weddings in a day.
Yeah.
So don't think that they're like
that's just tough, though.
It is, but I've seen a lot of them post like they have 4 weddings in a day.
I will say, if you have everything booked early on, then yeah, like if you want to, go ahead and knock it,
it's
like
a family friend
check it
and
off.
they may be out of town, that's important too, because if it's that case, then you want to talk to them sooner rather than later. They should be on your RSVP list and guest list anyway. It says 2 months out, choose music. You should have been choosing music prior, like the whole planning time. Continue to listen to music together as a couple if music is important. Music is so like it's almost like air for me. So I would be planning music well in advance and consistently making those little
I think
stacks
and I'm
of
sure
music.
What that's saying is, solidify everything. Start writing everything
You should
down.
have ceremony music picked out and all of that starting to be sent over 2 months before.
And I don't
music.
require anything. Like, I don't require the full planning form to be submitted. I think it's 3 weeks.
Don't wait
prior.
that long.
Well,
Enjoy
right,
those
but
last 3
I
weeks.
can see the progress that they're making as long as they're.
And if it's completely blank at 3 weeks, he's gonna be calling.
Oh, I will be like, excuse me.
Anybody out there?
I need
are we
music.
getting married? Are we doing
Is this still
that?
happening?
Yeah, that's the questions you'll start getting if you're slacking on this.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say also something that just came to mind during this whole planning process, take time out to have date nights where you don't do any wedding planning talk whatsoever. Like, I know it's hard, but take some time together as a couple to go for a weekend or whatever it might be. Just check out. And when people ask you, like, what's going on with this and what's going on with this, just know that they're excited for you and you don't actually have to answer them. You can say, oh, we're planning. You'll see. Because it makes it a little more difficult for you to, you are now operating on their time frame of what they want to know. No, I don't know what my shoes look like. I have a year. So, take those in stride. It also says finalize order of service in the day. Yes, you should have hired a planner back here, by the way, at that 12-month mark. 12 to 9 months mark, sometimes 6 months depending, but depending on the level of assistance that you need, 12, 9, and 6 months. I never took any weddings less than 3 months out because I was behind the 8 ball way too much and it was already kind of either going to be really good.
Well, I highly recommend the wedding planner being one of your top priorities because
they're going to guide you in everything else in all this. So you don't actually have to remember all this and they're going to keep you on track.
So if you have a venue, then if they don't have a wedding planner or coordinator, then that should be one of the top.
Get yourself a dedicated person. Yeah. It says 2 months out, chase RSVPs. Yep. That's very true.
Hey, you coming or what?
And something that I just realized that I forgot was your engagement shoot.
Oh yeah, your photo. That should be what,
that
like
should
6?
be like, it says 2 months, but it should be 6 months to 8 months before because also you want to get really comfortable with your photographer and that gives you time to think, oh, okay, we did that at our engagement, but ooh, I'd like it if we did this for the photos. And you start working on your photo set list about 4 months out for your photographer. So I would say 6 to 8 months, do those engagement photos.
Yeah, not 2.
Maybe include them on your invitation.
Because in 2 months, you're going to have wedding photos. So
yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. So yeah, definitely have that photo shoot way prior. It says 3 weeks to go.
Ooh,
what do you think's on the list? I know I'm getting like
3 weeks, finalizing the nitty gritty details of everything.
So seating plan, do that. Yep, because you'll have all your RSVPs, and if people have an RSVP, they can bring a sandwich and a chair, from what I've understood. Start making your table plan if you're doing your seating chart for tables and all that because stuff. Write your vows. You should have been working on that. Book beauty and spa treatments. I would say 6 months out. If you're doing like dermaplaning and facials or fillers or whatever, do that like 6 months out so it has time to like settle and adjust, and then you maintain it. Get on a good skincare regimen too. Wedding rings, that should have been 6 months prior. I think his ring or the partner's ring outside of the engagement ring should have been done.
I think maybe just finalize making sure everything fits in.
Yeah, making sure it fits. Call vendors to check all the bookings are still on and everyone knows what is what and the check balances. Please have all of your bills paid at least a month before.
Yeah.
That is the goal. Like that is, you don't want to, and then have all of your tip envelopes and everything portioned out, alcohol, bar company, all of that already figured out 1 month before. From the time you're 30 days out, try not to have any financial obligations, conversations, things you got to do, unless it's last minute and it's like, oh, oops. Try not, because it will just add pressure that you don't need. Enjoy that last month. 1 week. It says arrange your seating plan. No, do that 3 weeks, please. Making your, no, you're not making your table plans at all either. So negate that. It also says write vows. No, that's 3 weeks. Pack for honeymoon. Yeah, it kind of repeated itself. It's maybe giving you a little leeway.
Like confirm. This is actually what you want to say on your wedding day.
Right.
Has anything changed? Did she piss you off? Did he piss you off?
Did you think about a memory that you wanted to include, or maybe you were like, this is too long, I'm going to throw up if I have to talk this long? Pack for honeymoon. So honeymoon, I think, should be booked like 9 to 12 months before too, because that's a huge budget constraint. So you should have an idea of where you want to go. And these days, vacationing seems to be a lot less expensive when you're going out of the country. I've seen so many people in like Switzerland and Germany and France and Paris lately. I'm like, okay, that's what we're doing.
Okay.
All right. I did not get the memo. Did you?
No.
Okay. We'll plan for next year. And then it says, wedding outfits, that kind of stuff. Make sure everything is pressed, everything is steamed, everything fits. Groomsmen, make sure that the outfits fit a month before to 6 weeks before. Please don't wait until the day before to realize that you got the wrong suit jacket or something, and or you've, lost 30 pounds or gained 30 pounds. Do not shave heads, close cut the week before, the day before, the night before, because then you're going to have a tan line and your photographer's going to be very upset with you. So do all those grooming things, Guys, I think, can go get a nice simple haircut as long as you're not exposing too much hairline, like a couple days before.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah. Same with a lady's hair makeup trial. Make sure you got the coloring and all of that done 6 months before, and then you can do a refresh about 3 to 2 months out, depending on how fast your hair grows and how fresh you want it to be. And then, get all of your decor ready, boxed up. That's what your planner's for. Make sure everything's organized, ready to go. Make checklists along the way so you don't forget anything, which is important too. Like, oh yeah, we gotta, or if there's anything missing, like say you ran out of something for decor for one of your bins, mark it on the box, missing XYZ, so when it comes in, you know where it goes. The day before, just fucking relax.
And make sure.
That's not what that says.
No. But the day before,
rehearsal.
Confirm that, like, this is what y'all want to do.
This is, do it.
Because.
Spend some quiet time alone, I think. The
reflect.
Day before. Yeah. A couple days. Go on a date. Like that week before everybody gets there and whatnot. Go on a nice, like, normal, quiet.
No, you know what? Go on a bender the night before. Go crazy. Have fun.
No.
Get
if
drunk.
You've been listening to us, he's lying. It says go through roles with everybody. Have a good meal. Make sure you eat. Get a good night's sleep and have an amazing day. I think that sums that up. Yeah, I think definitely having, if you pray or if you meditate or if you yoga or whatever else together as a couple or even separately, do all those things too. Just really get mentally set.
Because it's going to be
lit.
It's going to be exhausting for one, but it's going to go by so fast.
It does. It does really go by fast. So take that time to enjoy the day. So there's your year to 16 month time frame for planning. 18-month time frame for planning a wedding. Anything you'd change or add, or we forgot?
Not that I can think of. Yeah.
Your favorite part's picking out the colors, I know.
I feel like that's the favorite part of every man. The blank stare
into the abyss.
Into the abyss. The food was fun, but I feel like you give me a lot of options. I'm like, ugh, I'm overwhelmed.
So, and that's another thing to know about your partner, like how do they best make decisions? That's something to learn in that first 4 months of engagement to setting things and deciding how do they make decisions the best. And you should kind of maybe know that a little bit, but gear that towards them. Like if she's overwhelmed a lot or your partner's overwhelmed with a lot of choices, just narrow it down for them ahead of time. Here's
one. A month to 2 months prior, if you have any fur babies, make sure you get those booked, boarding wise.
Yep.
Or if you have somebody like a trainer that's going to come out and walk, you know, if you're going to include your fur baby into the wedding day, make sure you have that booked like a month or two. I would say probably 2 months out.
I think the fur babies get forgotten.
Forgotten? Oh.
Forgotten.
Not my fur baby.
Not yours.
Lexi.
No. Yeah. I love that. So I also wanted, there was something that was trending that I wanted to talk to you about. Oh, yes. So there's this new company. I'm going to do a real what's trending.
Okay, what's trending?
What's trending? And I think I want to have them on. I know I want to have them on. But they are I think they're called a batch Sarasota, like bachelorette, bachelor party decorators. So they'll go into your Airbnb. I saw this in Savannah too, but now there's one in Sarasota.
Okay.
And it's a group of ladies that go in and literally set the vibe for when you walk into your Airbnb, wherever the bridal party is going to be for the bachelor or bachelorette party, wherever that's going to be, they go in, they decorate, they do balloons, they do the blow-ups for the pools, they set everything out, they customize it, and it's pretty cool. I messaged them like, if you ever need somebody to help you decorate, like I'd be totally in for that.
Here's the planning
I think that's
side.
really I know, I can't leave it alone. I think it's a really good idea because there's so much that goes into that decorating, and if you don't have anybody on your bride team or your groom's crew or whatever, your bride tribe, that is good at that, then you need to hire them. Mm-hmm. And it's all super cute and it's inexpensive and everybody can pitch in, and it can be as classy or a little trashy as you want.
Or sassy.
Sassy, classy, trashy, and sassy. So yeah, I think that's really good.
Okay.
To consider. So I've been seeing a lot of that decorating for bachelorette parties, especially because we're in a destination place. Mm-hmm. It makes really good sense because a lot of people are coming from out of town. They cannot, like, you want the bride or the partner or whoever to walk in and it be done, not to be like decorating around them.
Yeah.
You want it to be like, vibe is set. Let's roll.
Let's go.
Let's go. Any other fun new things?
That's it. It's quiet right now, so
it is.
I'm enjoying that.
He is.
Yeah. So
we're gonna hang out though in the next few months. We're gonna hit the club.
Come to Molly's.
That's what I'll do. I'll come to Molly's and we'll just get some video of us hanging out at Molly's, and that'll be our podcast.
Fist pumping.
This is what we do.
This has been the Scoop Weddings Unveiled podcast number, I want to say 25. I think it's 25.
Is it?
I think it's 25. Hold on, let me check. I can check. 1 second. Hold on. It is podcast number 25.
25?
Yeah.
Nice. I like it.
That's it.
We're doing things.
We're doing big things here, Brandy. And to all of our listeners, thank you guys for listening to us ramble for an hour each time. Again, this is the Scoop Weddings Unveiled. My name is Tim Schaus, your premier DJ with TLS Entertainment here in beautiful Sarasota, Florida, with my co-host, Brandy Harlan, the non-retired wedding planner. That's going to do it for us.
Peace and chicken grease.